Going on? It's Project Storm, and today is the first ever Eclectic Gaming discussion where I bring in gamers who have a vast knowledge of gaming as a whole. You know what I'm saying? A lot of hours in, a lot of years in doing this whole thing. So we're just going to have an honest discussion about gaming today, in the past, you know what I mean? And maybe even in the future. So stay tuned. We're going to jump right into it. All right. So first up, we got Bombay 510, brother from the
Yo, yo,
West
yo,
Coast. What's going on with you?
yo. Oh, what's poppin', everybody? Name's Bombay. You know the name, you know the face. So stay in your place. What's poppin'?
All right. Next up, Lord Def 187.
You already know the originator in the building. What's good, y'all?
All right. And next up is Main Ether.
Main ether, been gaming, you know what I'm saying? For many a years, we here.
That's right. Now
Yes,
you'll see,
sir.
you might see 2 years right here on Main's bio, but I can assure you the brother's been gaming since
Much
gaming
longer
first,
than two
yeah, since
years.
gaming first started. You know what I'm saying? A lot of years in. So the next up, we got Mr. Big Shot 100. What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on? What's going on? Been gaming for Elva and a day. Continuing on.
All right, so let's jump right into today's current events in gaming, right? Starting with the Xbox Series X and the PS5 shows, y'all. The shows that we've been presented with so far. So, Bombay, man, you want to share your thoughts first on how you feel about this whole next gen console movement?
Man, I don't really trip off the next gen consoles. Never been really someone to really think about the shows because I know it's all a bunch of bullshit. They're gonna put out the bullshit propaganda they want to put out, and we're gonna
Yeah.
see what's supposed to be good in a couple years. It might turn out good. It might turn out to be some shit. Some of that shit just may never come out. So I mean, with these last couple shows, I watched them with open eyes. You know what I'm saying? I was really excited to see what Microsoft had to show for the Xbox Series X, but what I was left with was a bunch of bullshit. I already knew was coming out. A bunch of games I didn't want to play, like Yakuza 7. Thanks, motherfuckers. It's out on the PlayStation last year, so I don't really care about shit like that. And it was a couple things on Xbox that I thought were okay. This might be okay. It might be this or that. But whatever. The Xbox show was what it was. Most people just weren't very happy. Then a PlayStation show. I'm not gonna lie. I was happier with that show. But as far as like, I was happier on the end. It has Demon Souls coming
Right.
out, and I love Demon Souls, and it has Horizon Zero Dawn. But it didn't really drop a lot of content for that either. A bunch of games I already knew were coming out, and a bunch of games I don't want to play. Hey, y'all, check this out. Biggest deal of the year: Grand Theft Auto 5 on the PlayStation 5. Miss me with that bullshit,
I
PlayStation.
hear
Okay,
you.
miss me with that bullshit.
I hear you. Anybody else want to jump right in on that, man? How do you feel about that PS5? You know what I mean? I'm gonna share my
Well,
thoughts
I'll
for
tell
sure.
you. Well, I'll tell you how I felt about it. It was a definitely much better showing than what Microsoft had. I mean, they always say
Definitely.
first impressions is where it's at, right? Well, for a first impression, it was not too bad at all. It wasn't the best, as I stated the other day, but it definitely was satisfying to know that, what I mean, the focus was on games, wasn't all that too much technical talking, blah, blah, blah nonsense. Like, I'm to the point where, I've heard that in so many press conferences and E3s after E3s, and then when the game's finally out, it turns out to be about nothing, just a graphical showpiece, and that's it. So I'm glad that they stayed on the focus of just games. It might not be the game for everybody, but PlayStation is always known for making games for a broader audience. They don't just cater to the first person shooter family or this family. They want to have something for everybody. They're trying to sell a console to everyone, not to a specific demographic. And I think if they keep going that same direction they've been going, they're going to be successful. However, Microsoft, they're going to have to show us that they can follow the same path as Nintendo or Sony. Open up your portal to a lot of gamers. Don't close it off to just Halo, or Forza, or this, another first-person shooter. That stifled. I mean, the market is already stifled with those games already, especially on PC.
Right.
If I wanted those type of games, I just go to that platform. You know what I'm saying? I think Microsoft should have learned by now that if, in order to stay competitive, that they need to answer. You know what I'm saying? For the games that Sony's is playing, we need to answer to Last of Us. We need to answer to God of War. We need to answer to so many great games, right? That
Yeah.
Microsoft shows that they don't really care about like making games similar or you know what I mean, or whatever. They just want to buy up first party studio and say, hey, yeah, we got all these first party studios. But the thing is, if you don't have the talent, you know what I'm saying, then your games are always going to be lackluster.
Hey,
No
do
matter
you think
how
that's
many
the
games they put out.
my bad? Do you think that's the old Microsoft or the new Microsoft? Because the new Microsoft seems to be taking a different approach. I don't know now. Just asking.
They are, but look at it like this. Look at it like this. How many first party Microsoft games been highly rated or highly praised in the past 3-4 years? I'll wait.
Not many at all.
Not many at all. Not many at all.
Gears, Forza Horizon
From
4,
from 2 to
Gears of
3.
War 5.
2 to 3.
4, Sea of Thieves.
Aside from
Sea of
no,
Thieves?
aside from
No.
Sea of
those,
Thieves,
those are the
Sea
usual
of Thieves is the big
suspects.
game. Sea of Thieves is the big
Yeah.
game. If you
It
was
wasn't
wearing the
highly
gaming
rated,
meta,
though.
now it is. Sea of Thieves
Now
is one
it
of their
is. Yeah,
top
it had a
games.
slow
Like
start.
when it
Sea of
came out, it
Thieves
had
did
a
have a
slow
slow
start.
start.
Things have switched. Things have shifted. So Sea of Thieves is definitely a game I could put up in there, along with Gears of War 5 and Forza Horizon 4.
4.
But what games on Xbox can compare with the exclusive games that
There are
Sony
none.
then been releasing
None.
over the years?
There are none.
There's
Right
really
now,
none.
none.
You know, I see
Right
and
now, in my
understand
opinion,
that what Microsoft.
it's all based on opinion. It's all opinion, like what we're saying right now. But yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree with you, man.
Absolutely.
There's no games in the Xbox. I could not hold like
Mm-hmm.
I can't hold Drive Club or my bad. I was about to say the one game that does hold up against it. I can't hold fucking like the Gran Turismo game up against the Forza game. The Forza
You
is a better
cannot.
game all around.
Definitely,
you know what
I
I'm
agree
saying?
with that.
And like with Killzone, I can't hold Killzone up against Halo or Gears of War for that matter. And what else do they have? I don't know what would compare against Neo or what RPGs they would have like Final Fantasy that Xbox could contend with.
I mean, Xbox doesn't have
nothing,
outreach
you know
to
what I'm saying?
Japanese
Like-
devs, period. So that's a blind spot that they have. Like, they're just very one-sided with their devs. It's all about shooters, racers, sports. They have no diversity in their lineup at all. So they have nothing that could compare with Neo or Last of Us. They don't have
Nothing.
devs for that. Or the studios for
Bloodborne.
none of that.
Yeah.
So,
And when we really look at it, it seemed like Xbox, the console is more of a multi-plat console, whereas Sony's console is more for like exclusive single-player games. Because you got more
Yeah,
multiplayer games
man,
on
for
Xbox
sure.
than you have on Sony PlayStation system. So,
Man, if I had those games on PlayStation, on Xbox, oh my God, look at the vice versa from that, y'all. And I guess the things are, you know, the funny thing about this shit is we talk about the way things are now, right? Like the way PlayStation has their games, but it's
Yeah.
always been that way. This is how it's always been.
Always.
Xbox came out showing games like Project Gotham and Halo, first-person shooters
Yeah.
and racers. Even the controller, the way the controller was made was obviously made to carry the first-person shooters and racers. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? That's obviously what the Xbox has always tried to do, whereas the PlayStation has always had those Japanese RPGs. They've always had Final
Always.
Fantasies. They've
I mean,
always
they
had
tried
Gran
a
Turismo in
360
those,
get
those
though.
kind of games. You know, like so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 360 did
360
try.
had
They did try with their Japanese. You talking about
'Cause
the
they had
Japanese
Blue
games they put out, like Lost
Dragon,
Odyssey
yeah.
or Blue Dragon? Yeah, and like the Last Remnant. And yeah, they did do something, bro. Like they tried to get with the Japanese audiences, but Japanese audiences just didn't bite because Japanese
Rejected
audiences
them,
were playing
yeah.
more handheld games. The Japanese audience stopped biting on consoles 20 years ago. They've been off of consoles. The consoles they did have, of course, they had their Japanese games. And why would they trade up these amazing Japanese RPGs that they've been playing for years for some bullshit American bullshit
Yeah,
that
that's a
they've
good
been putting
point.
out for all these years? So it's like. Yeah, the Japanese never latched on to the Xbox, and maybe never will.
They never
you know?
will. Yeah.
That's a good point. Hey, main ether. So when you first saw the show, when you saw these, I know you watched both shows, right? So when you saw the Series X showcase, and then you saw the PS5 showcase, how did you feel after seeing both?
I felt that Xbox had a better graphical presentation with their games, even though they didn't show no gameplay. I
Yeah,
do
what they
understand they didn't show no gameplay. I mean, they really showed like, you know, some cinematic gameplay, but they didn't actually show actual gameplay. Whereas Sony showed gameplay, but I wasn't impressed with their graphics. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't impressed with the graphics when I was looking at it, so I felt some kind of way when
Across the
you know.
board, or what?
Totally.
Like, or
That's
for
what I was
a
waiting
few
for.
titles?
What's up, homie? How you
Just
doing?
a few titles.
Good,
Not
man.
all the titles that Sony
Better
was
right now.
showing
You're my
Hey,
favorite.
were
Bombay,
bad,
Bombay,
but
hold up, man.
I
Take
think
something.
that what I was looking at when I saw that Sony presentation, I wasn't really impressed, and that feeling came from looking at the graphics and knowing that most of their games ain't running at 60 frames and most of their games running at 30.
I get where you're coming from. Hey, shout out to Project Kill and Cherry Man Gaming for stopping through, man. We appreciate y'all. We're about to go on
What's popping?
a ride right now. You know what I'm saying? A roller coaster thriller Manila type shit. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna take it there, man. So man, I understand exactly where you're coming from, but let's go to Mr. Big Shot. What was your take on both after seeing both shows, bro?
Well, to be fair to Microsoft, their show was a third-party showcase of CGIs, where Sony was mostly on the first-party gameplay. The big takeaway was it's hope that you hope that Microsoft is going to step up and actually show you something with their next showcase with their first party. But PlayStation is pretty much just showing why they're the leaders in innovation. They're the leaders in the diversity of their software, because they show pretty much any and everything that they can possibly show right off the bat. They showed you first party gameplay, they showed you third party gameplay. They was mostly about gameplay, while Xbox was just showing pretty much CGI stuff for third party games, and it left me a little disappointed on what Microsoft showed, to be perfectly honest with you, where I was thoroughly pleased, especially with Sony being quiet for so long about what the console was going to look like. The only thing they showed us for the first half of this year was just the controller.
Yeah.
And that got more excited than anything that Microsoft was showing. Just the controller had you excited for Sony. Where
You ain't lying.
there was no build-up for Microsoft at all. So we'll see next month when they come out with this first-party showcase. See what I'm sure they're going to see Halo and Hellblade 2 and all that other stuff, but they need to come better. They need to show you more of what's going to come down the pipe for them, because they have an uphill battle to go against Sony.
Okay, so with that being said, now my take on it is, initially, of course, I felt like the masses did, like that Xbox could have done a lot better with showing actual gameplay, like behind the camera gameplay, so that, we could get a good glimpse of what we're going to be playing. And I think, upon first glance, that Sony did a better job at that, but at the same time, I went back and I had a discussion, and I looked at Twitter, and I had some members in the Stadia community actually bring to light, and some other other communities, of course, like Xbox. But I was reading social media and everything, and I realized that there wasn't as many exclusive games. There were some dope indie titles that were shown. I mean, they look absolutely dope in my opinion, but then I was just like, hold on, there's no talk about the PSVR 2. Bombay, if you can mute, bro, because there's some noise in the background. Yeah.
My bad. That was actually my fault. And just a shout out to all the gamers out there. I know I got a lot going on, something just big just happened in my life. I just got my gaming chair delivered to me from Vertigear.
Oh, that's what's up.
Chair. Big Poppin' PL6000. Check it out if you guys want the ultimate in comfort. Vertigear.
That's what's up, man. So it's definitely worth all that hassle now.
Nice interjection.
But check it out though. So what I'm saying is, when I went back and I looked at the show, man, really, I thought about the fact that they didn't really show, again, like the PSVR, and I felt like they should have done that, because PSVR was huge. I know some people didn't really buy into it, but there are some gamers who really invested in that, and I felt like they could have really done that to say, hey, we're here for you all too. We got some stuff in the pipes that we're working on for the VR users and everything. So some things they could have done better, but overall I thought it was a doper show than what Microsoft put out there for the people. And that show was kind of underwhelming in my opinion. When I was looking at the gameplay, I'm like, hold on, man, this is not 12 teraflops to me right now. It's not screaming 12 T flops.
Microsoft so gameplay? Where?
And that's what I'm talking about. So, and then the other side of things was, we saw with Ratchet and Clank, the PS5, we saw the capabilities of, that's just one example of how they're going to be able to use this SSD that they're talking about, man. So that got me excited as a gamer. I can't lie. Now,
All we really saw was them having a game coming out. We don't know what the SSD is going to do or how well that's going to work.
Well,
in
yeah, you're right. It's a,
actuality.
it's speculation. But if you look at how they were jumping through those portals
Yeah,
on that
jumping
game,
through the
man,
rift
you
was
could
a
kind of,
showcase.
Yeah, the
Got
refs.
you, bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not. That
yeah.
shouldn't be shit. It's 2020. You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like jumping through a rift shouldn't be nothing.
I mean, and you're right, and I'm
Well,
sure that's
because
been done on other games.
the thing
So I
is
don't,
with the
I'm just
rift.
saying they're trying to cat off and let us know. Oh, it's gonna do this. Look how you can jump through the rift.
Yeah.
I'm not a developer. I don't know like how
Right.
taxing that is on the game development, my nigga.
Well,
So like,
based
I don't,
on
oh my,
I can
sorry,
speak on that. Based on what I read on
my
Twitter,
guy.
that whole idea of jumping through the rift is to show you how easily and fast the levels loaded into the game,
Loaded.
which
Yeah,
would
that's
have
what I
been
was thinking.
impossible. It would have been
Yeah,
impossible
yeah,
what they were
on the
saying
current
was
gen
that
consoles.
right. Y'all talking about
Yeah, got you. I don't
Ratchet
know,
and
man. 'cause
Clank.
The
they got
Ratchet
this
and Clank.
game called
Yep,
No Man's Sky,
yeah.
man. And No Man's Sky showed me about gaming that a lot of things that you may think are impossible are actually very possible if you know what
Well,
you're
they was
doing.
actually
So,
saying
I
like
don't
with
know.
that jumping through dimensions, you know what I'm saying? That was the power of the SSD for the
But you're not really
PlayStation
jumping. That's
5.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'm not disagreeing
Yeah.
with anything you're saying. All I'm saying
Yeah.
is you're not
Yeah.
actually jumping through a dimension. Like they're making it
Right.
seem like that's some crazy level of stuff, but you're not actually
True.
going to another
Right.
dimension. You're going to another
Right.
level in the game. That's
Yeah.
not a big
Right.
deal. And there's a transition, which is you looking like you're jumping through a portal. But in actuality, you're not really jumping through a portal. The portal's just an illusion the developers created. It's not a real portal. Not
Yeah,
really taking
I get what you're
anywhere.
saying. I mean,
So,
I get what he's
when they-
saying.
when
I think it
when
just
they tell
goes
us-
into what
when they tell us all these things. Oh, look what we can do. It's like, man, like show me the gameplay because I don't really know what y'all can do. Y'all just talking, and really, I don't think that stuff that they're doing right now isn't possible today on the PS4. They're really not selling me on what these systems do above the current systems, bro. That's my main point that I'm trying to make. I'm not really
like-
sold on any of this shit that I see.
I think like what Lord Death was saying, I think they highlighting that in Ratchet just to show off how fluid it is to jump from one board to another with no load times. It's just going from rift to rift, and it's a smooth transition from
That would be a big
one
deal
side to
in
the other.
2004. But
Yeah,
we got
I mean-
games like Grand Theft Auto out now, so it's like, what does that
I
mean?
understand, but
We got games like No
think
Man's
about
Sky
the
where you
gaming
fly
that
from
we're
planet
doing
to
right
planet and warp speed. Like, what does that really
Like
mean today?
if you go back and watch that Ratchet and Clank video, you're gonna see that from each portal he jumps in, the assets, the graphical assets are totally
Loaded.
different from the
Instant.
last one he's went. Normally, traditionally, your console memory has to load that up. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
that pop.
yeah,
I understand it better than
total
you could
different,
think.
total different AI behavior from the last level you just jumped
Yeah.
out from.
Yeah, and that's
Total
the wow
different things
factor of
going
it.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why if you go on Twitter, they're gonna explain that was the whole idea for the average person who's just watching a trailer. That's not gonna register.
they're not gonna catch that.
But they're not
Man,
gonna catch that.
These dudes are out here capping. These dudes are out here telling us they're out here talking about all this stuff their new game is doing, all the stuff the system can do. It's all propaganda, man. It's all BS.
Hey, look. Speaking of that, now that's a great way to segue into what the chat is saying right here. So we got Chris, y'all, valuable member of the all communities, but definitely in the Stadia community, always showing love. And we got Chris said, "Good combo, guys. Nintendo for the win, by the way." So we're gonna get into Nintendo as well. We're gonna get into we're gonna get into that. Hold on, hold on. Right, you can't. Well, hold.
No conversation with Bombay.
Right, we're gonna get into it. Hold on, we're gonna get into it, and then Chariot said, Stadia Kingdom. Actually, that's Chariot Man Gaming. You know what I'm saying? He has 2 channels, brand new channel, y'all. Check that out, by the way, when you get a chance, man. The Stadia Kingdom, he does a great job of just showing love to Stadia as a whole, and we're gonna get into that later too, the cloud gaming thing and all that. We'll get into that later. But so Project Kill said, "Good look on the chair info, Bombay," and Stadia Kingdom said, same. Basically, all right, that's the second channel. Then he says,
Yo, man,
30,
it's
30
all
hey,
good.
listen, 30 FPS, though, is what he's saying about these next-gen consoles, pretty much. So what's y'all thoughts on
Let's talk
30
about
FPS?
Terrible.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk
Let's
about
do it.
that.
Let's get
Yes,
into
you
it.
can. Yep.
Who wants to helm
Let's
first?
talk about.
I'll go first.
Who
I'll go
wants to
first.
go first?
All right,
I'll go first.
Lord
I got
Death.
some knowledge
Lord
on
Death.
that. I got some knowledge on that.
Lord
Now,
Death first.
This is the thing, right? This is the thing. Last year before, we've been hearing so much hype about 4K 60 is going to be standard. We all pretty much know what a Zen 2 processor can do on your conventional modern PC, right? A lot of gamers, you know what I'm saying, are basically getting that experience already on PC, right? So this is
Right.
what they're pushing on consoles. The first thing I noticed on the Xbox website that a lot of the games not titled as 4K Ultra, they're titled as like checkerboard or this, and that shocked the crap out of me because I wasn't expecting that. Because for months, for a year, like Bombay said earlier about them just trying to sell you things, so we always got to be cautious with that too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Be
So
cautious.
I'm not surprised that Sony games was running at 30, 4K, and then one of the games they mentioned, that Digital Foundry mentioned the other day, which surprised him. He said, "Yo, one of the games was running freaking 1440p, and Ratchet was running 1800p and not full 4K." And then
Wow.
I said, "You know what? Let me go back to the Microsoft website. I noticed Yakuza, same thing. None of these games were native except for a handful, right?"
Right.
Now the
Maybe
thing is,
Forza.
they selling you the buzzwords 4K 60, 4K 120, right? And the thing is, it lets you know how powerful these consoles is because Xbox One X right now has 12 gigs of RAM. Keep that in mind. It has 12 gigs of RAM,
Right.
4 more gigs over the base Xbox One. Have anybody in this room seen a major difference from 8 gigs to 12 gigs?
Not
Let's be honest.
not
Minimal.
necessarily. I
Very minimal,
can't
right?
say that it
minimal.
stands
Right.
out.
Now
best.
check this out. So now look at it like this. You're going from 12 to 16. You know what that means? You're not really
Nothing.
going to see a jump. You know what
12
I'm
to
saying?
16? Ha! An adult computer would be 32.
Right.
Yeah. I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
six. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
16
You're
would
gonna
be.
get
It
nice
was
graphics.
that would suffice
You're
too,
gonna
though.
get nicer graphics.
good.
And I just read that Demon Souls. Check this out, y'all. Coup de grace. I just read Demon Souls last night. It's going to have a performance and also
Option.
a frame rate
Performance
option.
option.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
So you guys we going back to the old gen ways? I'm like, what happened to 4K 60, which I was preaching? So
120 and all that. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
120 and all that. So now, check this out. These games that's supposed to be running at 120, what I just found out, they're speaking on the Xbox One games that's out now. You're able to run it 120 frames on the newer console. Now, for the newer tech, you have to remember ray tracing on PC right now is like chewing up a lot of hardware memory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of CPU time. So you think about that translation on the console, there's going to be some takeaways. You know, hence why the games are still running
Great
30
point.
because you know what I
Great
mean?
point.
Ratchet has ray
Yeah.
tracing.
Right.
A lot of those games are still
Oh, I
running
see
ray
what you-
tracing. Every
Yep.
PC gamers complain about when they put ray tracing on, they can't get their performance to go back to 60 frames a second. So are we surprised that it's happening right now on the newest consoles? No, we are not. But what we are mad at is that you're promoting 4K 60 and having us thinking our head that's included with ray tracing. So now there's a misinformation going on, and a lot of gamers are going to be speaking on that. And I can't wait to see Microsoft next game showing, and that's going to put some light on what we just saw with the Sony conference. You're going to see the exact same thing because that's the exact same thing happened with Valhalla. The Assassin's Creed. A lot of the gamers did not like the Microsoft showing because it was running 30 frames. Well, guess what, guys? You just saw a crap load of PlayStation games running at 30 frames. That is going to be a norm until these developers get familiar with the architecture. And that's not even a promise that every game in the next 2 years is going to be 4K 60. It's still going to be constrained to whatever they
Hey,
have. They
can
have to
somebody
work with what they
mute
got.
like with the somebody has background air and stuff like that? Can y'all mute? Because that was some good stuff you was trying to say. I want to make sure it's not
Yeah.
overshadowed.
Next
yeah,
person. Next
Oh,
person.
maybe that was me.
I'm
Yeah,
not,
next
I'm not
person.
sure. Don't worry about it. All right, so
Somebody
yeah.
touch on what I just
All right,
said.
so check it out. Hey, Lord Death, first of all, you just set the thing afire, you know what I'm saying, ablaze or whatever. So, I mean, I can agree with pretty much everything you were saying, man. And that's the sad part, y'all. That's the sad part because for me, I'm not even going to lie to you. I got a PC, and some might call it a budget PC, especially Bombay, man. You might refer to it as a budget PC. You heard what I'm saying? But it does what it needs to do. It plays game at 1080p, 1440p, and it can allow me to stream at 4K. But what I'm saying is, I don't want to see 60 frames per second. That's why I was so happy. I was so happy, you know, when I heard about Stadia. And again, we're gonna get into that later. But I was happy to be able to play at 1080p. And I'm a big resolution guy. Everybody that knows me knows I'm a big resolution guy. I need my graphics. I want everything to be crisp and pristine. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to see like sub 30 FPS. I just don't want to see that this generation or any generation, next gen, the gen after that, or whatever. I think it's just time to move on. Go to 1440p if you have to. Just say 1440, but everything's 60 to 144 hertz or whatever. Like, I don't know. That's just my thoughts, y'all. Somebody can jump in.
Bombay, Big Shot, Ether. What do y'all have to say about that?
I mean, I think it's a marketing. I think it's a marketing scheme by Sony and Microsoft. They're not being
Exactly.
fully honest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When they're talking about 4K 60, 4K 120, because like you said, Def, what about the ray tracing? If you include
Right.
ray tracing, then that's going to take away from the 460, and you're going to have lower resolution, and you're going to have lower frame rate. Or
Right.
you're gonna have a higher frame rate, stable frame rate, and lower resolution. So somewhere in there is going to be a loss. It's going to be a takeaway.
And that's sad.
And that's and that's sad that, you know what I'm saying, they promote and advertise, you know what I'm saying, these systems in the way that they do, when we as consumers, gaming consumers, spend our hard-earned money,
Right.
you know, buying these consoles and buying these games, bros.
That's absolutely right, man. I mean, just keep it honest, keep it simple. You know what I mean? If you can't do that, that's what one thing about Nintendo. So if nobody else wanted to jump in that whole conversation right there, we can move over to Nintendo because I have a lot to say about Nintendo.
Well, before
Well,
we
you
move
know,
on, Nintendo. Yeah.
they don't have the most powerful console. Okay,
Hold
'cause
on.
I own a
Wait.
Nintendo.
Say that one. Say that thought.
game.
Say that thought. Hold
Okay,
on. Lord
okay.
Def wanted to say something else before we
Alright.
jumped over there because that's going to be
Go
a
ahead,
great,
Lord Def,
heated
you got the floor,
conversation.
brother.
No, that's all right.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so I think we all, like I said before, adding on to what I was already saying, we have to keep in mind to kind of stay away from the marketing ploy, because, you know, as much as I want to disagree with Bombay, he does have a point. You know what I'm saying? You know, if you think about every console generation that we already had, they always have a key feature they want to
Killer
sell
app.
to you. Yeah, and then when the games are out, you don't really see it. You remember the big hype
Yes.
about the touchpad on the PlayStation controller? How many games have you played so far that uses that feature? It just goes out the
Fucking
window
gimmick.
after that. Right now, we have PC players struggling to run ray tracing and 60 frames and 4K at the same time. So they're constantly,
Facts.
like, you know what I'm saying, in the decision of making a sacrifice on what they will want. You know what I'm saying? What they want to run. Now, consoles don't have that. We don't have that privilege to choose that many options. So it's up to the developers to say, hey, you know what? We're going to give you guys this, but don't expect 60 frames. You see what I'm saying? So keep your expectations low. You know what I'm saying? Keep the focus
Yes.
on games, because it's like I said before, get power out of your mind, because like I already said, from the base Xbox One to the Xbox One X, there's no huge difference in graphics. It's sharper, it looks nice, it's in 4K, but outside of that, there's nothing really big. So, you know, we have to get this whole graphics thing out of our mind. If you really care about graphics that much, go get a PC. You know what I mean? This is at the end of this is console. They deliver an experience that's separate from PC. You know what I mean? And giving you games that normally don't be on PC, and if it is end up on PC, it'll be like 2-3 years down the line. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So it's all about the content.
Yeah, but you also got to realize the average console gamer, the majority of console gamers are casuals or parents that buy consoles for their kids.
Exactly.
These casuals and parents that's buying games for their kids, they don't know what ray tracing is. I looked at a poll that they had on IGN, and it was a poll of what
That's
was
true.
the most hyped up feature coming for the next gen. What do you want to see for next gen? And like it was like 50 to 55% said
I've tried to
better
make this point.
graphics.
I've tried to make this point to Project Storm,
And
dog.
that's the
for so
buzzword
long.
that gets the parents to go out and buy the games for their child. They see, oh, this game is going to have better graphics than the last one. It's going to be 4K. It's going to be 60 frames. These parents are casual gamers. They don't know to dig deeper and find out what just make a commercial saying the Xbox Series X is going to have ray tracing. Casuals don't know what the fuck ray tracing is. They don't know, like, what the hell is that? You can't hype and sell a new console on a term that nobody knows about other than hardcore. And hardcore is a small majority of the purchases for these new consoles. So you can't put that on a box. You can put it in like little small print ray tracing, because parents are not going to know what that is.
Right.
So you can't sell it like that.
Yeah, and that's
You got to hype it up.
and those are
You got
good
to hype up
points.
to 4K. You got to hype up to 60 frames, because that's what parents and everybody else knows. Oh, is this game going to look better than the last one? It's going to be 500 or however much it is? Okay, I'll put that much down if it's going to look better. It may not look better, because to us, like hardcore gamers, there's not going to be much difference in the fidelity on what we're seeing now for the One X that we are going to see with the Series X. But for like parents, they're going to believe the hype of what Phil and Sony's going to tell us. Like, wow, this game does look a lot better. When in actuality, it really doesn't.
Hey,
That's
look.
how you sell it. You got to put
And the
That's
thing,
true.
and you know what you're saying there kind of remind me of when I bought the Xbox One X, and my wife sat here and said, I don't really see the difference between the Xbox that you have now and this one, right?
Yeah.
And that goes to show you the leap in the graphics department is not that much. So they're claiming that this is going to be the biggest leap since the PS2 to the PS from the PS1 to the PS2. Well, I don't see it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I see some
Or as
games
they-
with fancy coat painting on it. That's it.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
That's
man.
it.
It's
Yeah, what
all
you
Or
about
as
to
they
buzzwords
say,
when it comes to selling.
and I actually think my honest opinion is that you can't. I don't think we can get any better with graphics than where we at right now. I
We
think
can't.
like with these
Oh, we
next
can.
gen
We can
consoles.
We
get
can't. I think so.
Like,
So
I've
we're
seen better
50-50. We're
graphics.
split.
I'm saying
2 and
graphics
2.
they're not doing yet. They're still not doing. We
Right.
can go a long way. The technology just isn't there yet. Still not there.
But when you say
know what I'm
graphics, are
saying?
you talking about resolution or are you
Graphics
talking
as a
of
whole.
added?
Graphic
Graphics,
fidelity.
Just graphics
the
as a whole.
textures,
Okay.
the
As far as
assets,
resolution?
the assets, and all that stuff,
As
man.
far as
Textures, all that.
everything,
Like
bro.
Yeah,
photorealism,
textures, you name it.
photorealism.
Yeah.
All that's what Bombay's
Textures,
talking about.
Yes, there's things they're not doing. They're still not using mapping techniques that they use in movies. You wonder why Toy Story looks better than any video game? It's because they don't have to control Toy Story. It's just animation. You know, they can go crazy with the graphics. They can go
Yeah.
insane with the rendering. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that on consoles because the game is in real time. Hell, people are seeing it at once. Like, dude, you have to render all that stuff at once. So the graphics are always gonna take a back step, a small back step, always on video games. We haven't
but
reached
there's
the
always-
point to where we can manipulate this stuff yet.
Yeah.
And like once they reach that point, you'll see video games that look like Toy Story. They look better than Toy Story. You'll see video games that
But
look
we're very close
better
to that
than,
right now.
Yeah, with Ratchet and
Nah,
Clank.
we're not.
Some people think
we're
that it's kind of Pixar
We're
like.
extremely like you just think that because the illusions that are going on in the game. Developers are tricking you into thinking these graphics look that good. They don't, because the normal maps aren't real. Normal maps are just mapped on there. They're not real topography. They're not. They can't calculate that many polygons. You know what I'm saying? So the game loads like trips up, and the developers have ways of tricking you into thinking it looks really good, but it doesn't. It's just a picture basically, just textured. In 10 years, we won't need matte painting pictures. We'll be able to have full-blown polygonal models. You know what I'm saying? That are calculated and are actually rendering in real time on screen. They're just not there yet, bro. And then they're very far away from it. I went to school for game design, and I graduated 12 years ago,
Right.
or 13 years ago. Game design hasn't changed much since then. They're doing the exact same techniques, bro. They're using the same tools. You know what I'm saying? Very little has changed. Now they're starting to implement some of the stuff that I was learning about for animation. You know, today, 13 years later, they're starting to implement that shit in video games today. But they're still far behind when you look at like what Pixar is doing on their movies and what DreamWorks is doing on their movies. They're far behind.
Yeah.
Years behind, my dude.
I get what you're saying because Metro Exodus right now is one of those games that's showing when you see that game at 4K 60 with ray tracing turned on, man, you know that consoles just ain't, they're just not there yet. But real quick, let me go out, let me shout out to this chat, man. Chris said PS4 Pro had the promise of 4K gaming, but they didn't tell you, all right, you have to choose between 4K and 60 FPS. I don't need the talk. I want the walk before I become a believer
There you
on the
go.
new consoles. That's Chris. And then he also
we
said,
go, yep.
Chris has also said, if I need to choose between visual quality versus performance, I would rather have a PC. Consoles used to provide you consistent experience with everyone. All right, and then Little Miss Angel, all the way from Sweden. What's going on, Angel? Angel always shows love, comes through. You know what I'm saying? So it's good that you're here right now, rocking with us. And Chris also said, lastly, my hot take: ray tracing is one of the most overrated and overhyped graphics technology ever made.
I agree.
Do y'all
It
agree?
is. I agree. I agree 100%.
Okay,
Ray
and I
tracing ain't nothing new. Ray
Yeah.
tracing
Yeah, it's nothing really
isn't
new.
even new.
Yeah, it's like
These people on the
reflections and
PC
lighting.
Been using ray tracing
Yeah.
for years.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Minecraft
all
had
it is.
ray tracing last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro. People make it seem like these things are these crazy ideas. They are for consoles. You know, console gamers love hearing this shit.
Yeah, I feel you on that. And so that's a good point. So let's go right into, the next discussion, which is Nintendo. Now, my thoughts, y'all, real quick, and I'm going to try to keep it short for y'all because I could go all damn day on this. Nintendo can't get my money right now because Nintendo has not offered Project
You ain't
Storm.
got none.
Hey, yeah, and I don't have any. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any. But Nintendo hasn't offered me anything that says Project Storm. This is for you, bro, right here. This is you bought that 4K TV. You want to play with HDR and all that. You want to game in 1440p at
That's
60
not
Project.
Nintendo's
Hold
not for
on.
you.
Hey, I'm talking about Project Storm, brother. Hold on. Project Storm. So they don't have my money. They might have your money. So that's why everybody's gonna get a chance to share.
Nintendo doesn't make games for you. Nintendo looks at people like you.
I get it.
and no
I'm just
offense,
telling
they be
you.
Like, poop that guy.
Hey, listen,
No,
check it
I'm
out.
telling you.
No, I know
Nintendo
what you're
doesn't
saying.
care
I know what you're saying. But check it out. I'm
Your
saying
life
what.
doesn't matter to Nintendo.
Well, they can't get my money and others who want to, like high-end PC gamers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Unless they just want to sit there and play their favorite Nintendo games, that's cool and all that. But PC gaming is like the real hardcore PC gamers.
Well,
You
I'm
know,
a real hardcore PC gamer,
they ain't
and
going
that's
for the
not true.
Nintendo sorry-ass
That's not
Switch
true.
graphics,
That's not
720p,
true. I'm a
1080p.
real
You know what I'm
hardcore,
saying?
PC gamer, and that's not true at all. In
Okay.
fact, some of the biggest games on PC today aren't games that have great graphics. Like Minecraft is one
understand.
of the biggest games on PC. DayZ, another huge game on PC. I can go on forever. Last Oasis, Mountain Blade came out a couple months ago. One of the biggest games on Steam right now. A lot of these games don't have the most
Right.
high fidelity graphics, but they do have those sales because people on the PC are playing a lot more indie games than people on consoles. They're playing a lot more games made by indie developers that don't have
That's a
big
fact.
budgets, so they don't
Okay.
have AAA dollars. Most PC games aren't AAA games. AAA games with the good graphics, that's where console players come to. I mean, you're still living in the days.
That's a good
of
point,
fighting-
bro.
That is a
That's
good
fact.
point.
It's
That's
a
definitely a
fact.
good
You're
point.
still living in the game. There are days of Fear and Stalker, where PCs hit the best, highest quality graphics, and that's what everybody wanted to play. But my brother, that was 12 and 15 years ago. The PC world has shifted, and people on PC are playing indie games and games with way lower graphic fidelity. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna
Yeah,
sit here
great-
and tell me
great
that
points.
a PC player won't play Switch, that's not true. In fact, the Switch has embraced the PC more than any other console. The Switch takes all those indie games that come to PC only, and they put them on
That is
on the
true.
Switch right now.
So
The
what
Switch
I'm
is taking
thinking-
Right now,
all
the
these
Switch,
All right.
right
Got
now,
it.
Switch
So-
is getting
so
better
look.
all
indie
these
support
PC
than
games,
Microsoft.
and they're blowing
Yeah.
up
Switch is
on
getting
the
way
fucking
better
Switch.
indie support.
So he's
Even
right about-
surpassed
Yeah.
Sony. Even surpassed Sony, and Sony
Yeah,
was
but-
holding number
Yeah.
one indie for a while.
The Switch
Switch
thrives
like
off the-
dominated them.
The Switch dominated that shit, and the Switch is also bringing PC players over so much
Yep.
to a degree that in the
What a
Switch version,
transition.
the Switch version of Civilization 6, one of the biggest games on PC, one of my personal favorites. The Switch version of that game is the only version that allows you to, or it was the first version that allows you to cross save between PC. The Switch did that. The fucking Switch.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, I got you.
Switch.
Now, what I'm saying, let me back up a
Yeah.
little bit because you're absolutely right
Well,
about
back
that.
up.
Hey, check it out.
Back
But
up
what
a
I'm
little
saying
bit.
is, like, for the hardcore gamers, like the
Please.
enthusiasts don't play in
I'm an
720p.
enthusiast,
Hey,
fair.
listen what I'm saying, bro. This is what I'm saying, right?
fair.
Check this out. Now, I got what you got it. You know, we talk shit all the time, but check it out. What I'm saying is, I don't want to, as a consumer, Project Storm, they don't have my $300 because they're not offering me what I need. And I know I'm not the only one. There are other gamers that feel that way. You know, some gamers are tired of playing 720p games with old as yesterday's textures and stuff like that, man. Like, that's all I was saying.
Got you. I hear you. That's true. But like, gamers are not tired of playing games like Fire Emblem Three Houses because they only have it available on the Switch. Gamers are not tired of playing games like Zelda Breath of the Wild because it's only available on the Switch. The Switch is offering better titles than the PC, the Xbox, and the PlayStation combined.
That's true.
Yeah,
They're coming out
I
with
agree.
better titles than all of those platforms. So, in my opinion, if you don't want to play a Switch, you're just not a real gamer to me. If you are
I
against
could-
Switch,
I could
you're
dig
just
that.
not a real gamer. You're definitely
So
not
check this
hardcore.
out.
I got-
All right,
yeah, I
anybody
got
else? Man,
Switch.
go ahead. Somebody jump in. Anybody else?
So you do, man.
Okay, well, I can definitely say for sure, as a Switch owner, from day one, that I've been extremely satisfied with my Switch. Although I have not been given a lot of time. That's what happens when you own one device that you
Console.
play games
Right.
with.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this: when I get on that Switch, I'm zoned and locked in. I don't care about resolution. I don't care about graphics.
Nope.
I don't even care if the graphics is 8-bit. All I know, like I stated before, you get a certain experience. You know what I'm saying? From a console platform that you don't really get nowhere else. And and this is why console is going to be here forever. If you ask me, in my opinion, I think console's going to be here forever because it encourages a lot of innovation. You know what I mean? And Nintendo has never been like the leader in graphics for a very long time, and they noticed that it's never was important to a lot of the gamers that they're catering to. It was always about the gameplay. It was always about the content. And Bombay is like 200% correct on that. And I'm not going to co-sign him about not being a real gamer because I would just have to say, hey, everybody has their preference. Somebody,
There you go.
might
I was
play a
just talking
game in
shit.
seven.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
Somebody
just
might
talking
play a
shit for the
game in
conversation,
720p, right?
And-
Somebody might play it. I've seen cases where they had dope ass games in 720p, and I felt the type of way about it. You know what I'm saying? I felt disgusted, but you know what I'm saying? Other gamers is not going to put up with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I just tend to look past that. As a gamer, the gamer in me allow me to look past all these little things. You know what I mean? But to somebody else, it's not going to go over them that easily. They'll
Absolutely.
be like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't need this shit in my life.
Right.
I don't care how dope this game is. This shit is hurting my eyes. I'm not used to these pixels. Everybody has different reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's not to take away from anyone. And the thing is, Nintendo, to me, I think it's going to be here forever. I think even longer than Sony and Microsoft, which is another argument in itself, because they
Well, it's
know
been here
what
for
their
longer so
audience
far,
want.
so
They
They
been
know
here,
what their
yo.
audience want.
Nintendo
So
been
if
here
you,
for
if,
over like 100 years.
yeah, Nintendo. If it was to come down to like a real console war, if somebody said who would you pick to be the winner, that you think to be the winner, I would easily with my eyes closed say Nintendo.
Yeah, and see it
know
right
what
here.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. So let me jump in here real quick.
Yeah.
So Stadia Kingdom said, "I love my Nintendo Switch. This is why they will still continue to sell out the door, and that's a fact,
See?
right?" So who didn't get a chance? Big Shot. Did you want to go ahead and share your
Big
take
Shot.
on that?
On what, some Stadia?
On
Switch.
Nintendo, on the Switch or
On
whatever.
Nintendo
Hey, do
Switch.
you own a
I
Switch?
mean-
First of all, do you own one? And then
Yes,
what's
I
your thoughts?
Yeah, I do have the Switch, but I really just bought it for my daughters. I dabble in it every once in a while. Like I played the Marvel game on it that came out a few months back, but as far as Switch has never been my cup of tea, just for the simple fact that a lot of games don't cater to me. Like I'm not into a lot of the little kiddie games,
Like
stuff
Pikmin and
Like, I
all that,
felt like-
yeah. Which a
I
great
felt like
game.
I was
Pikmin's
going
not a kiddie
past.
game.
It's a great game, though. I'm just saying.
But, you
Pikmin's
know,
not a
game-
kiddie game.
Or Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is another.
Animal Crossing's not a kiddie game either. No kids.
That's
are talking about
another. That's
Animal
another
Crossing right
debate.
now.
majority of
for
people-
another day.
It's not a kids game. You just
I hear
the thing-
you.
the
That's
thing
a
about the
debate.
Stadia
Hey,
game
he
is
was
there's
just
a lot
talking.
of
Hey, he's talking about the style, right?
information.
He's
No,
talking
just
about.
let him finish.
Go ahead,
It's
go ahead,
not
go
an
ahead.
argument. He's
Go ahead,
just
man.
giving his experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
like I said, that's a debate. That's a debate for another day. But as far as the majority of Switch games, it's never been up my alley. Like I played Mario to death when I was younger. I played Zelda to death. I played a lot of these games to death, and they're still. These are the headline titles for the Switch. Look, I tried a lot of their newer stuff, but it never really was up my alley. So
Got you, and I respect all of your takes.
Yeah, and you have to respect his opinion, everybody, because there's a lot of people out here that we argue with that don't even have a goddamn Switch, and they quick to give an opinion. So you got to respect the man's opinion. He played it. It's not
Definitely.
like I said, when they come out with games that is my thing, like I said, I played the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I love that game. I played the hell out of that game. But majority of their games, there's nothing that really sets me ablaze and gets me excited to play. So I really just, I initially bought the Switch for myself. But then I just passed it off to my daughter. I said, you know what, they really wanted to get into gaming and to keep them away from my PlayStation and Xbox, I gave them the Switch. So,
Right. Oh, that's dope. All right. Okay. Now, moving right along, fellas. Let's talk about what is considered as the future of gaming. Let's get into that cloud gaming talk. Are any of you interested or
Future,
uninterested
don't like it,
in the
not
cloud? Hold on. Let's go with Bombay first. Then
Bombay.
Bombay. Interested in the cloud? Not or no? Why and why?
I'm not interested in the cloud. It's the end of an era of gaming. It ends fucking physical games for the most part. It gives developers way more. It gives developers way too much control over when I can do what I want to do with things I paid for. It takes all of my power away from my actual product. You know, I don't really own the game on the cloud. As soon as the cloud goes down, I can't access the game. They can take games off the cloud whenever they want to and disappear them forever, as they've already done in the past with multiple games. I'm not going to go into that, but no, I will go into that. Games like Double Dragon have been taken off the cloud before because of licensing issues with their companies, and since it's in the cloud and not downloaded from an actual hard drive, you can never get it again. Never get it again. It's gone.
True.
It's erased
Yeah.
from the world.
I'm,
It's
I'm,
erased from history. I don't believe in the cloud at all. They've done a terrible job in making me want to believe in it. And yeah, no, I hope the cloud. I hope it fails. I hope it doesn't take off in gaming in the way that it probably will and it could. I really do hope that because yeah, I do not believe in the cloud. I,
Respect.
Bombay, do not believe
right.
in that shit.
Respect.
All right, my take on it is this, right?
Main ether
I'm
state.
and I'm gonna pinpoint towards Google Stadia because Google Stadia is cloud-based gaming, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Yep.
My issue with Stadia is this, right? If they're advertising it as a Netflix type of service,
Well, they're
whereas
not.
Netflix,
They're not doing that.
Okay.
They're not doing that yet.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on.
Go ahead.
But if they're but that's the word out on the street though, and on the internet, it's like
Yeah, go
it's
ahead, go
supposed
ahead.
to be something similar to a Netflix type service where Netflix, you don't have to buy the movies to watch them. Whereas with Stadia, you got this subscription and you have this service, but you still have to buy the games, bro. That to me don't make sense, bro.
Okay. Anybody? Who's next? And that's
Well,
what's up, man.
I
Thanks for
can't-
sharing your take on that.
Oh no, that
I'm not going to speak too much on Stadia. I've played it max in any one given time for like 6 hours at my nephew's house, and that from at that point I made the decision to purchase it because of the potential. You know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and say that Stadia
No.
is the future, not just yet. You know what I mean? But I would say this as a gamer. You know what I mean? In order for me to have a valid opinion, you know what I mean? This is the only way for me to really give a good opinion by owning the product and not just going at my, friend's house, nephew's house and play it and say, hey, I don't like it, whatever. Sometimes we need it in our own living room to really give a good opinion on it. And I yet to open the box. I had it before. I ordered the Stadia before and it had a little technical issues. I sent it back, so I got a new one, but I ain't opened out the box yet. So I plan on doing my own assessment of
There
where
you
I
go.
think it's going to go. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But the future of gaming, it's a big possibility that we are heading that route, unfortunately. I'm not a
Shit
fan
gonna
of
be
anything in the
new
cloud.
systems are coming out.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Let him go.
systems will be
Let
the
him
future
go.
of the
Hold
cloud.
on. Let him go.
I'm not a fan of anything in the cloud, but unfortunately, I have to move on with time. And the way how things are looking for me, from not just a gaming standpoint, from mobile phones to this to that, all kinds of technology, they all headed that same direction. The internet, the cloud, in
Yes,
some way,
sir.
somehow. You know what I mean? So I can see
Yeah.
maybe 10, maybe 20, who knows? It could be more, that gaming will turn that route. I mean, look at the consoles we have today. They still have a disc drive, right? And Sony showed their PS5, one with a disc and one without. That is a hint that they have no problem with moving forward when that
Right.
time comes.
There
so
you
it's
go.
either you on the bandwagon or you out. You know what I'm saying? We can sit here and argue all we like about cloud, but we know once they say this is what it's going to be, that's that. You know what I'm saying?
And that's it. Bottom line.
I mean, it is the future. I mean, like you
Yeah.
said, they're all headed to that route. With Sony
That's
coming out
exactly
with
what
the
they're pointing
discless
to.
console, xCloud for Microsoft. I can't speak too much on Stadia. I didn't buy Stadia.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't buy Stadia is not because I didn't believe in the streaming service. They just was rehashing old games that I've already played to death. So
Right.
they didn't give
Exactly.
me
That's how I
reason
felt.
right.
to-
That was my
That's
to
how I
buy
felt.
the thing.
And I could
If
dig
they
that.
had that killer exclusive to come out for it, I would have jumped on it.
Yeah.
Right.
There you
But-
go.
It's an unfortunate future that's going to happen for us. I'm not really a fan of, like Bombay saying, like I would like to own my games, and
Yeah.
with
Same
streaming
me.
services, you don't really own it because they can take it away from you in an instant, and then it's like, where the hell did it go? And
Yeah, there's an
It's
argument
like
that
like-
that even with console, they can block your access, or PC, they can block your ability to use that game if they want to close servers down like they've done in the past. But I don't want to get deep into that. We get deep into that in episode in part 2 or something. You know what I mean? But go ahead, bro.
But and then there's really a lot of issues. Like I think for right now, they said with xCloud, you can't even stream 1080p. Like you can do only really 720, 720p, and it's like there's so many problems with it right now. We're in the infant stages of streaming, and it's going to be a long
Yeah, the
time.
infant.
Like that's saying it's going to be at least 10 years before we even get to a point where we can actually see beautiful streaming games at like close to 30 frames with no hitches, no drops. It's going to be a long time before we get to that. But it's all about the software. If you coming out with a streaming based console and you're giving me 3-4 year old games to play on it, Like I'm not gonna jump on them. Like I don't care about your console.
Yeah,
So
I
I
could
already
dig.
played these games enough.
I can dig that, but here's a trend that people I think have been noticing, right? Because PS5, their event started again. What did it start with, y'all? What game? The good old
Was it,
GTA 5,
Yeah, Gran Turismo.
not
Yeah.
not 6.
Grand
You
Theft
know what
Auto.
I'm saying?
Oh no, Grand Theft. Yeah, yeah.
Grand Theft
Yeah.
Auto 5, y'all. And what's some of the most beloved games? Uh, not Last Guardian, but hold on, not Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and all these great games are coming. Final Fantasy,
Yeah.
they're coming back, people. So some people love these old games and they want to see them remastered and everything. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I got mixed feelings on that, but for the whole cloud gaming thing, it is definitely the future. Multiple companies are already investing, like y'all hinting at, and I'm testing out the stuff right now. Shadow, Stadia, GeForce now.
Companies invested in 3D or 3D and VR. So just because people invest in something,
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
and like Xbox invested, Xbox, Sony.
Well, hold on. Wait. Let me finish what I was gonna say real quick. Hold on, real quick. They're investing in it, Bombay, because they see a potential market for it. They know, like these billion-dollar companies, or out here, they know what's going on. That's why you see, like even Disney and other companies that's thinking about not only just the cloud movie-based service, but they. I've seen multiple times that they're about to get their feet in the cloud gaming somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? Amazon, of course, we know that's going to happen. So that's what I'm saying. Like we all said it, we all agree that it is going to be the inevitable future to some degree, if not as a whole, right? So my thing is, so you asked me earlier if something like if I call myself a gamer, then I should, gamers play everything like the Switch or something, like not to quote you, but why not the cloud, y'all? That's what I'm asking. Why not just having? And I'm not trying to sell. Look, I'm not selling anybody on anything. I'm not selling anything from anybody. But if we're gonna feel one way, listen. All I'm saying is we're gonna feel one way about it. Hey, Bombay. If we're gonna feel, if we're gonna feel one way about the consoles, we might want to keep an unbiased opinion about the cloud. You know what I'm saying? Because the cloud, yes,
had a software for it.
That's true. You're right, and you're not lying about that because the games have to be there. A lot of people are not on Stadia, for example,
Games
right now
gotta be there,
because
my
the
dude.
games are not there. But they are coming. They've announced that they're coming. I just jumped on as an early adopter because I like the technology of it. In fact, the whole stream, the whole background gameplay that you've been seeing is all Stadia, right? So it shows that the service works, and it may not work for everybody. So I understand why some people might not be for them because of data cap issues or their network stability and all that stuff, man. Some people might not be able to afford the $10 a month, but that's it. So we're gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna keep it like as general as I can. But Bombay, go ahead. What were you gonna say, bro?
Problem with Stadia, the problem with what they're doing is they're not putting out games. They're giving people games they've been playing for years and trying to make it seem like cloud gaming is the greatest. They're not. They're lying about the fidelity. They're lying about the frame rate. They're lying about everything they're doing, and they're surprised people aren't happy. Well,
Did the
people don't like
consoles
these
lie?
lies.
Did Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo lie? Have they ever lied?
So what are you
about-
saying? We should forgive the lies? What is that? What are you supposed-
That's not what I'm saying. I'm asking you: Has Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony lied about something, and it didn't turn out to be that
I'm
way?
not saying all that. Like that's not what I'm talking about, bro. I'm talking about the Stadia. Like,
Oh,
what
all right, okay. I don't want to get. So we're not gonna get
talking
too
about?
deep into that one. We're not gonna get too deep in that because that'll be like a whole
That's
another
not
2
even
hours
about
that we
the
don't have.
Conversation. I don't even know why you.
Yeah,
bring
I
that up.
got you. I was just throwing a point out there. You just
What
didn't
mean?
catch it. You didn't catch it at the time. But look,
The
That's
biggest
not my
problem with
point. My point
Stadia is just the games.
point
They
Stadia's lying.
don't have the games right now, even
They're
with all the
games, bro.
lies. It's their biggest problem is they're trying to sell you on a lie on 3-year-old games. Like you could play a better version of Assassin's Creed on a PlayStation or an Xbox than you can play on Stadia. But that's the lie that Stadia said you can play on 4K 60, but you can't even play it on 30 and 4K. It's like the lies. They're
See-
lying on older games, which is the biggest problem.
and see, that's what I have to correct, man, because you can definitely play it on 30. You can play it in 60 as well. But what you can't play on your most powerful console in the world, which is the Xbox One X, that a lot of us own, if not all of us, what you can't play is 60 frames per second, 4K on that either. You know what I'm saying? That's what you can't do.
No, you can't play 60.
So we
You
gotta
can't play
give
60,
we
but-
gotta give Stadia the same break if we're gonna be fair about stuff. We gotta give them the same break that Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo is getting. You know what I'm saying? We all know what the Wii U was
the killer
about.
app then.
That was a failure
that killer app.
to many. and it still sold millions, but it was still considered a failure ultimately. But so man, that's what I'm saying. So we got to make sure, like, it's just keep your mind open. If if you call yourself unbiased, is all I'm saying. That's not just to
No,
you
my
all.
mind is open,
That's
but
to
you
me.
just
That's
gotta
for
play
everybody else out
games.
here that call yourselves gamers. You know what I mean?
I hear
So, with that being said, is there anything else y'all want to touch on before we wrap up? Because I know y'all got things to do, man. I appreciate y'all being here, and this is going to be the first one of hopefully many, y'all. You know what I'm saying? So, is there anything else y'all want to put out there before y'all wrap up? If anybody, if anything you want to plug, anything you want to plug that you got coming up next in gaming or whatever,
Hey
anything
man,
you're
all
looking
I gotta
forward
say
to?
is, man, you know what I'm saying? We already seen what next gen consoles gonna be about this year. So
Mm-hmm.
now we're gonna have to wait to see Nintendo what they gonna be dropping after the Switch. If it's a Switch 2 or you know what I mean, something.
Switch
I'm kind of
Pro.
excited about that. Are they
Right.
gonna
Yeah.
finally jump on the hey, we're gonna join the power bandwagon and just keep doing the things that we always been doing? I think that would be very interesting this generation if Nintendo decides that they want to get on in the power. You know what I'm saying? They already got
Gotcha.
the games and you know what I mean? I think that would be a game changer if that was to happen.
I hear that, man. That's what's. Anybody else though? Anybody want to share your thoughts on what's coming up, or if anybody's making, if you have any kind of content, or you make content, or you thinking about doing that,
I
anybody
just
want to
look
plug that?
forward to. I look forward to me main ether. Okay. I look forward to playing The Last of Us 2, and I look forward to playing the Ghost of Tsushima next month.
Woo!
Oh
That's what I look forward to.
yeah. What
Heavy
about
hitters.
that Last
For
of Us
gaming.
2, man? Oh man. And a part of me wants to wait. Oh, hold on. We got some background chatter, y'all. Real quick. It's just getting louder. Yeah. Hey, if we want to wait now I wanted to wait to the PS5. You know what I'm saying?
I can't wait.
I can't. I
I
don't
just
think
can't.
I can either. That's my
I
point.
can't wait. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And just for reference, yo, Sony already made it clear that any game that's made between June going forward are all going to get a PS5 upgrade, while they are working on older PS4 games to be backwards compat. So I think that's one of the things we didn't fully cover. We kind of like bashed PlayStation for being anti-consumer
Yeah.
about their game, but to correct y'all on that, they're going to have hundreds of games, not all, but they're going to have hundreds of their main popular games that probably sold well or probably heavy hitters that's going to be back compat and offering the same level of service like Microsoft smart delivery, like enhancing the graphics and this and that. So you know what I mean? At least they're doing
Yeah.
that. They're not entirely anti-consumer. They just want gamers to go forward. You understand what I'm saying? There's but so many HDMI hookups in our damn TV anyway. You know what I'm saying? I
Right.
only have for two more consoles, so that means the two I got now got to get packed up and make room for the other two that's coming. You know what I'm saying? If I want to play those games, I just hook it up on the TV and that's it. I think viewers got to learn to move forward. I'm not against backwards compatibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go into a long segment about it, but I'm just making a point. I think we need
No,
to
you're
do that
good.
on the next podcast and speak about back compat, how it's important is to you as a gamer. You know what I'm saying? Is it convenience for you to have it all in one box so you can move forward, or you just don't care? That's going to be the next topic.
Right. So real quick, fellas, just to let y'all know, man. We got the brother Rock in here. Rock makes great Stadia content. You know what I'm saying? And he has his hands in a lot of different things. He said, "What a great show." So it seems like we're off to a decent start. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that people can enjoy it. I think
Thanks for coming out,
I value
everyone.
all your takes. What you say? What you say, Lord? Dad?
Thanks for coming out, everyone.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm
most
saying?
definitely. So
Thanks for listening. Thanks for your input.
yeah,
Good looking, good
and
looking.
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
these brothers behind the scene, they make content. You know what I'm saying? They're on. You can find them on Mixer and other places. But I'll let them plug that the next time if they would like to. So we appreciate everything, y'all. Have a great day. Keep it gaming. Keep it unbiased. A lot of love and respect.
All right, then. Y'all have a good one.
Deuces with juice.
Peace.
All right.
Great.